Radio in motion program loading in 3, 2, 1. Program activated.
Attention everyone, the unpleasant noise you are about to hear coming from your radio is not a mistake.
Okay, first things first, what is your name?
This is Big Sonny playing the best of the 90s and beyond.
Are you ready for this?
Yeah. Radio in motion.
Please do not turn off your radio, but turn up the volume on your receiver as high as it can go.
All right, here we go.
Radio in motion.
Now on to another movie, and look, this series, Mad Max in general, is near and dear to my heart, and unfortunately, right now, Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga, is considered a flop. It ain't working. It had the lowest box office Memorial Weekend, so it's Memorial Weekend. It was in the States. The lowest Memorial Day weekend opening in 40 years. Again, I'm not having a go at this movie. I think there's a lot of other factors, and this is just a casualty of Hollywood war at the moment. And this is sad. Even the new ridiculous Garfield cartoon outgunned it with $91 million. So they had predicted for Furiosa an $85 million opening. And worldwide, it was only $59 million. Again, you're like, hey, that's a lot of change. I'll take that. I could buy a lot of soda with that. But again, when you're looking for a return on the movie, you need a minimum. And if that target is not making movie, you've lost money. And it's not going to get better. It's not going to get better from what I just said before about the video on demand sort of stats that based on how the movie's going, they'll pull it from theaters. And that this is another movie that's going to be sacrificed on the altar of the bean counters. And it's not fair if they end up pulling it because it's not doing, you've got to give it word of mouth, give it a chance, tell people to ignore what you're saying. By the way, again, nobody listens to movie critics because they're all just bought and paid for. They're just total shills for Hollywood. People listen to the audience score. That's a fact. But when the critic shills, the fakes, when they like the movie and the audience likes it, that's actually pretty cool. And that's what's happening here. The critics are liking it and the audience is liking it. And it's still bombing. That is so not fair. And yeah, when Garfield, hey, I like Garfield. But seriously, we don't need another Garfield. And it made $91 million. That must just be all the kids. So look, I'm going to go back to well, first of all, let's be honest. How do you do Mad Max without Mad Max? All right? And I'm not having to go at George Miller. This is his universe, and he's building it. And I feel like he's falling into the same trap of George Lucas, where the fans were very critical of him when it was his own universe that he's building. But, this is George Miller, and he's trying to build this universe. I think he's off track. And let me say, hey, I'm a kid that is just a Mad Max maniac. And I'm going to tell you the tiny little story of Sonny and Mad Max. But think about this. Think about if you grew up loving a movie and then you ended up living in the area, in the country and the town where they shot most of it. Now, that's easier if you're from Australia and you're going to like Hollywood or LA. Everything's shot there. But I'm a kid from a small town, Arizona, and I ended up living in Sunbury, in Victoria, and all the areas around here, Craigieburn and Melbourne and Melton and Kew and South Yarra, and specifically, come on, you got to love this, all you Sunburyans out there, please tell me you know that the coolest thing about Sunbury is that the final scene was shot just near here, obviously, the final scene of Mad Max, where he gives them the option to, if you cut off your own foot, if you're lucky, you can hack through your ankle in 5 minutes. And the fact that was, shot just near here on Gillies Road, at the bridge over Emu Creek. Again, what are the odds, that I'm ending up living here? So again, for me, it's near and dear to my heart, and I'm just living in the area surrounded by all the Mad Max lore, and how cool is that? So my thing is how do you make Mad Max without Mel Gibson. I feel like that's also one of those first things, you know. And so I go back to Fury Road. Before we even got Furiosa, we were introduced to Furiosa in Fury Road. Now, the funny thing is, when that came out, I'm going to be honest, and I'm not having to go at George Miller. I just think he's falling into the trap of if he's just following a good story and this is what he's envisioned, I won't argue with him a bit. He's the man. But the thing is it was a bit of a bait and switch, okay? We thought, all right, it's not going to be Mel, although I still think that would be awesome. He is the perfect fit right now, an old Mad Max. He's got the grungy beard. Anyway, I digress. It was a bit of a bait and switch because it still wasn't about Max. Obviously, the star was Charlize Theron as Furiosa. So that's the problem. So all the fans had been waiting for 30 years since Thunderdome, since 85, Beyond Thunderdome. And then we got Mad Max, but the main character really wasn't Mad Max, I'll be honest. He became a side character in his own movie. But that movie did all right because they weren't falling into the lady boss, which I'll talk about. Hollywood loves the lady boss at the moment. The boss bitch is queen. And the audiences hadn't grown tired of that yet, but they have now, and that's the problem. So this is the thing, you know, Fury Road already started that. And again, that was a good movie, and Charlize Theron did a good job. I think, you know, she was something where the audiences, you know, connected with her. And so this one is the character played by Anna Taylor-Joy of the backstory of Furiosa, which again, nobody really asked for. We didn't ask for Furiosa, and we also didn't ask for backstory. Backstory of Mad Max would be better, although we already had that. But this is actually her as a kid at about age 10. Again, no spoilers. I'm not going to give spoilers. I'm just going to give a generic overview of why I think this is bombing, and it's not the movie's fault. Anna Taylor-Joy, by the way, actually was fantastic. And by the end, again, not spoilers, but she actually ends up having that look that Charlize Theron gave to Furiosa. And if you think about it, it's a good match. I will be honest, Chris Hemsworth as Dementis, he stole the show. he leaned into his nose. He leaned into that part big time. So I think that's interesting right there. So again, it's not the movie's fault. Here's the problem. Hollywood, especially Disney, they've gotten into this formula, and people are getting tired of it. And it's a lady boss, where a strong female generic character is just awesome just because. And there's even actresses like Emily Blunt, actually, that I was talking about. They're getting tired of that. They get a script and it just says, what's your motivation for the character? Strong female lead, walks in the room and just owns everyone and is awesome at everything. How is that? As an actor, you can't chew on that. There's nothing. Where's the story arc? Where's the hero's journey? So I think that's the problem. They're just getting all these characters, and it's not even the actress's fault. The writers are writing them as awesome character, can do no wrong, has no flaws. That's not relatable. You have to make a character likable and enjoyable. And also doesn't have to demean the male character and be so insufferable. So let me tell you, modern movies don't have a diversity problem, not at all, and I don't have a problem with that either. They have a lady boss problem, and that just gets old. If it's a good story and it's well written and the character has a good character arc, it's great. And yes, I always go back to classics. You go back to Alien and Terminator, and these were strong female leads. Sarah Connor is an amazing, strong female lead. But guess what? Remember in Terminator, Sarah Connor went on a hero's journey that was relatable. In the first one, she was unsure of herself. She got the crap beat out of her, and she got knocked down, and then she got tough, and she kicked ass. And a lot of it was still instincts that a woman can have that seem to be pushed aside these days. They just want to make women into men. She had protection instincts and motherly instincts, and they came out with her strong side, strong physical side, and made the perfect female strong lead character. And of course Ripley in Alien and Alien series. In Alien, she was more of the. I'll be honest. She wasn't a damsel in distress, but she was like the last survivor. Okay, and that's not necessarily again strongest chick in the room, but by Aliens, because of what happened to her, because of that journey she went on and had a tough time, then she became stronger, and the audience connects with that because it's a natural human trait to not be perfect. And so again, it's not the audiences don't want a lady boss. They just want, like any character, like male characters too, to earn it. And yeah, especially with Alien, by Aliens, Ripley had more than earned it and started to take charge, and people loved it, and a huge turnout. So again, simple things like a hero's journey. That story, the story you tell around campfires, legends, it's been going on for centuries, dare I say thousands of years, since the first people started telling their stories around the campfire. No one starts off a story with saying, this person was awesome, and they started off awesome, and I will continue to say the awesomeness to the end. That's just boring. And for any character that you think a male character has been like that, I'll be honest, I will argue that they weren't. I don't care if it was Sylvester Stallone or Mel Gibson or Arnie. All those characters went on a journey where they were unsure of themselves, and they got the crap kicked out of them, and there was something relatable to the human experience for the audience to like them. And that's what you want. And what I'm trying to say here is that Furiosa, if anything, is actually going against the grain right now, and the part is not played like that. It's a well-written and well-acted part, and you get to see her struggles from when she was young. So like I say, it's not spoilers. You've already seen the stuff if you've seen the trailers. It goes from when she was younger, probably about 10, and then into her 20s. And let me tell you, for the first, good 40 minutes of the movie, which I think is a little bit too long in showing the younger part, you don't get to even see Furiosa grown up till like 40 minutes in. But let me tell you, it certainly gets you connected to the character and sees that, man, they're going through some bad apocalyptic dystopian stuff. And that's the point. And then you get to see how that affects the character, and then you root for them, and then you root for the hero because you want to be them or you want to help them. So again, I think audiences are tired of the lady boss, and they're assuming that this character, because it is a leading lady, Furiosa, is going to be like that, and it's not. And I feel bad, and I think it's losing money because of it. So yeah, the first 40 minutes, again a bit too long, is all the backstory of Furiosa and where she was and her family, and then you get to see the older version. And again, she's earned her place by then. She's earned her toughness, and by the way, still gets her butt knocked down many a time. And again, that's a natural thing. I don't want to see a hero. It's just boring. I'll be honest. I'll put it onto something like comics. There's something like like a Batman versus Superman kind of scenario. Superman actually is a little bit boring because he's just he's invincible. How do you relate to that? So much so that I'll be honest, they had to create kryptonite. They literally had to create his kryptonite. But the point is that they had to give him a flaw. Otherwise, as awesome as he is, and it's like, oh yeah, you would look up to him, it's hard to relate to something that's it's almost inconceivable. Whereas something like Batman, well, he's just a man and full of flaws, and except for basically the suit of armor and the tech that he wears, he has to be tough mentally and physically because he gets his butt kicked a lot. So again, it's about relating to the character. I will say again, talking about Chris Hemsworth, he really does steal the show. He chews up the scene in every scene, I tell you. And I think that's good for him. It's a very different role. He needs to find those different roles. Otherwise, yeah, he'll just be stuck, as Thor forever. And again, I think people have started getting tired of the standard cookie cutter Marvel movie with sort of the roided up hero. See, it can go either way, even that gets old. So I think it's good. I think he needs more of these. And he's certainly got acting chops too. And again, I'll say, Anya Taylor-Joy, she's really on I think an amazing journey for an actor. I think she's just going better and better. I think she's got staying power. There's not a scene or line that she's delivered in previous movies or this one that weren't solid lines, and that's not always easy because you're bound by whatever the writer and the director and everyone pointing at you and poking at you and saying do this and do that, and in the end it's all on you to try to make it authentic, to make it convincing. And I think she's done really well at that. She's going to do great. And there's plenty of gear porn. Yes, that's a thing. If anything, of course, you're going to get that in a Mad Max movie. Like I say, George Miller, he is a world builder. And through all the Mad Max movies and even Fury Road, yes, you're going to see things that it's going to astound you because it's so unique and insane. And you can only get that from a Mad Max movie. Yes, I will be a bit nitpicky. This one's got a bit more CGI, but again, who knows? Maybe it wasn't about cost saving. Maybe it was. Obviously, again, these days it is hard to get physical practical effects. You've got to get the stunt guy in the truck and find the place to do it and get all the insurance and get the place where you're going to film it and make sure it's not raining. And again, this all adds up. Or maybe the CGI had to be sort of mixed in with the practical effects because, again, this is coming out of his mind and he's trying to put it on the screen, and you've never seen anything like Mad Max on the screen. And so when you conceive that, maybe it couldn't be done in the real world. And so that's why you do need CGI sometimes. It's not something that can be done in our physical current world. So again, that's only a nitpick. I still think, if you're a rev head and you love Mad Max for all of that spectacle, definitely go and see it. You'll go nuts. You'll see things that you don't even know how they did that. So again, that being said, I think it's a good movie, and I think it's being sacrificed on the altar of the bad taste that people have in their mouth of the lady boss. And they think Furiosa is going to come out and be lady boss. Again, in any Mad Max movie, it's hard to be guy boss or lady boss because, frankly, it's mostly visuals and there's not a lot of lines, which, again, is kind of cool about Mad Max. It's almost like the most amazing silent movie, and that's what's so cool and that I love about these movies. It is about the visual, and you're just watching and you're there, and you don't need a lot of talking. Like I say, both the actors, my God, they maybe barely have 80 lines. You know what I mean? It's a Mad Max movie. There's not a lot of talking going on. So like I say, did George Miller bring us another spectacle from the world of Mad Max? Yes. Did he do a lot of backstory? Again, if you liked Fury Road, you'll like this, okay? Because it's going to do a lot of backstory, Bullet Town and Gas Town and obviously Furiosa and the place she came from, which was supposed to be beautiful, but was stripped away in the dystopian apocalyptic future. And if you're into all that, it ties in nicely with Fury Road. If you're a hardcore Mad Max fan, which I am a little bit, if you're waiting for that original Mad Max feeling, you're not going to get it. I dare say, Mad Max, there's only 3 movies. Sorry. Fury Road is also a Furiosa movie with Mad Max in it. And again, my only criticism of George is just, I don't know, give Mel a call. It's difficult when you have a part synonymous with a certain actor. Okay, it's like Harrison Ford with Indiana Jones or Han Solo. It's hard to separate them. And if you're going to even call it a Mad Max Saga, I get it. It's a Mad Max Saga. It's in the Mad Max world. I don't think people are ready for a backstory on a side character All right, Furiosa is already a side character, and now we're doing a backstory on her. I tell you what, how many of you would love to see Mel Gibson come back as grungy Mad Max in whatever story? I will totally trust George Miller to come up with whatever story he wants to, as long as he puts Mel in it. Will it be a moneymaker? I dare say it would. I dare say that the people would come to see his final return to, especially when actors these days, they always say never say never. Jeff Bridges ended up back in Tron. Let me tell you, Jeff Bridges was adamant he was never going to return to Tron. He is back in Tron. Ghostbusters, again, all those IPs, all the ones that said they'd never go back, they all went back. That's how we got an 80-year-old Indiana Jones. Again, not Harrison Ford's fault. That flop was Disney's fault, but that's another story. So anyway, look, I'm telling you, if you like Mad Max, if you like Fury Road, go give it a chance. It's an awesome watch. I hope it does better, but unfortunately, based on the early numbers, it's not going to do well, and they're probably going to. I don't know if they'll end up pulling it or what, but it didn't project nearly as to what they thought. But again, what can you do? Mad Max should have Mad Max. That's all I can say. But definitely go watch it for the crazy action sequences, and Chris Hemsworth certainly steals the show and puts in a good performance. All right, well, those are my thoughts on Furiosa. Hope you're enjoying tonight. More great music from the movies coming up next after a word from our sponsors.